Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Shudder film Off Season. This is not an adaptation of the book by Jack Ketchum, which is a fact that I was not very keen to hear. So keep that in mind. I was expecting a gory Evil Dead style film, when in reality that's not what this is. Jumping in from the start, the copyright-free music at the intro is a definite bad sign for the film. I've heard that in at least a million shitty student short films, so I expect better from Shudder. The opening monologue is a refreshing touch in the horror space. A oneer of, a mysterious lady talking about devils and demons and a whole bunch of shit, an ending with a scream, then cut to the title. That's unique. I'm gonna give it points for that. Now, I dig the homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with the inciting incident being a grave being vandalized. It tackles the obvious comparison between the two. People in a remote area being considered savages, whole 9 yards. Her grave being vandalized is not only foreshadowing the little twist at the end, but it also works as a way to say, yeah, we know. Another big good thing about the film is the cinematography. It's very, very refreshing. The largely empty framing choices are a very nice touch that emphasize the isolation of the characters, because this is a remote island in the middle of nowhere. Show and not tell us that by giving us a lot of negative space. Now, this movie had a weird bit of slow-mo when it really cheapened the moment, and slow-mo is usually used when you need to draw a segment out, but this movie isn't even 90 minutes, it's 80, it's barely cracks 80, so, if they just kept it as a jump scare, I would have liked it, but they just had to use the slow-mo. Also, this movie shows almost nothing and tells us everything. It makes for a better podcast than it does for a movie. I like that they hid the flashback as a dream sequence, and it makes sense with the editing. I like how it plays on the religious aspects of the setup, with the demons and the "have you angered God" thing in the History Museum. The film is more of a slow burn that never really gets to where it's going, though. That is the biggest issue with the film. It tries to be 3 different things. It tries to be a parental trauma film, a religious trauma film. It tries to be a Texas Chainsaw motif. It tries to be a Silent Hill movie. It tries to be a lot of different things, which normally doesn't usually work. And it doesn't work for this film either, because it needs to focus on one thing in order for the audience to understand it. This is not some experimental art film. This is a relatively straightforward slasher with A24 style camera work. I'm not a fan of the chapters. The film is too short to have chapters. Make it seem longer and more in depth, when really it should have worked as a slow burn if it stuck to either the religious trauma aspect, the parental trauma aspect, or if it just tried to be a Silent Hill movie. I would have respected the film a lot more. But it doesn't do any of those things. It doesn't tell us anything about the village. It doesn't tell us anything about her mom, and it doesn't show us anything either. Don't get me wrong, the cinematography is great, and it's the best part about this film, but there's nothing else there, in my opinion. The acting is solid, but, I need something more than that. I'm not a fan of the climax, either. It tries to be a slow burn, but then you get to the climax, and you think to yourself, is that it? It really, really tries its best to be, it tries its best to be an Ari Aster film, which I'm not a fan of. I personally think Ari Aster is overrated, but that's just me. If I ever work with him, I never said that. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. It's just Midsummer and Hereditary are overrated. Great films, just overrated. Ultimately, I gave this film a C+. You know, I was disappointed. Not just because I thought it was an adaptation of the Jack Ketchum novel, which if you haven't read it, go ahead and read it. It's fucking phenomenal. There's a difference between leaving you wanting more and just straight up undernourishing the audience. The film tries its best to be it tries its best to be an art house film, which doesn't really coincide with the film being on Shudder. But that's just me. You know, the script is okay, the screenplay is okay. You know, the film is just it's average at best and terrible at worst. Those are my thoughts on the film. If I come around to it, if I come around at a different point and think to myself, you know, I should rewatch that with a new eye, I'll do an updated video of this, but right now it's sticking at a heavy C+. That's it for the video today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps with my engagement, and I'm a small content creator, so I would appreciate it if you did. Don't forget to have a nice day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.